All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite WMMA podcast. Hashtag CB99 Talks. Of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. This is episode 123. Yeah, man, I'm back. Feels like it's been a minute, but I'm back in the house. Been busy, just been taking care of some business. And next thing I know, it was like almost a week later since my last live, right? Time just be flying by on me, man. But I done some videos this week, but like I said, I just been kind of busy, and every time I looked, I said, you know what, I don't care. Few days passed, that's fine. Other things got high priority, so I just been taking care of things, but still been watching fights, of course. I've been watching fights because I still been giving my 2 cents here and there on IG and on my YouTube community page. So yeah, man, make sure y'all continue to support and subscribe if you want someone that promotes WMMA, all right, and somebody that's a fan of it. First off, okay. So yeah, the past few weeks been good for WMMA. Not just for the UFC. You got a lot of good fights going on in other organizations, and that's what I want to talk about in this episode. I just want to kind of go back and revisit some fights. Not really break any of them down, but just go through the ladies that were fighting in other organizations. And kind of put the spotlight on who you need to look out for, because that's what I usually do. I usually watch a lot of underground stuff, and I'm like, hey, this is who you need to look out for. And whether it's Invicta or Aries FC or Cage Free LFA, whatever, right? I'm usually looking at these fighters. So that's what I want to do in this episode. First, I want to kind of go back and just discuss Aries FC 14 a little bit. There was 3 WMA fights on that card. PFL 2, we had like what, five featherweight fights. Just get my thoughts on those performances. Um, some sad news, some sad, shocking news. Amanda Lee, who just got a contract with PFL, has to call it quits. Has to call her career quits. Shocking into her career, which I will go into with y'all here in a little bit. Um, Calvillo, Cynthia Calvillo, just got cut from the UFC. As y'all know, suffered a 5th loss in a row. Should she have been cut right away? That's the question that needs to be answered, right? Also, I want to look back at the strawweight fights this past Saturday. I'm not really going to break them down. I already did that. I just want to give my thoughts on these strawweight veterans. These strawweight veterans continue to hold it down. Now, I know it doesn't really reflect with the decisions that were given out, but these strawweight veterans are still holding it down. And this is just really this just really proves my point. Whenever somebody asked me a question last time about the unranked strawweights versus the unranked flyweights, there's still a big skill gap there. A lot of the strawweights, I think some were signed premature, but some of them, they are like working hard to get better, right? Like some of them are signed a little bit sooner, so they have to really step up their game fast. Whereas I think some of the flyweights, they tend to have a little bit more experience. Like that's just my thoughts because of the way they have been coming through and making their way to the top. You know what I mean? Like Aaron Blanchfield, Tyler Santos, Macy Barber, Casey O'Neill, those fight Manon, right? There's proof in it, right? You see how fast they got to the top. And Tyler's already fought for the belt. And, some of these fighters have retired some of the girls like Jessica I and Roxy Modaffari. So there's a lot of proof there. A lot of proof in that. But I think the strawweights are good fighters. But, yeah, I just see that big skill gap. And I think this past weekend was proof in that. You had the veterans schooling these young heads on the come up. So I want to talk about that. And of course, tonight is fight night. By the time I put this show out, tonight's fight night. Got 2 strawweight fights and a bantamweight fight. I want to kind of go through that, give y'all my picks. If I have picks, I might just kind of break them down, but I don't know if I'm gonna have picks in this one. But yeah, man, going back up, like I said, me, I like to watch these underground fights. Sometimes I get behind. I got to go back and watch them at night and, just see who's on the come up. Just do my little talent scout like I usually like to do to see who you need to look out for. Aries FC 14 has some good fights, though. You had a couple of good flyweight fights and a bantamweight fight where I'm going to say you have to look out for this girl that's going to come up. But first off, there's my girl right here. She came up short. Manuela Martinetto versus Ioni Raza. She came up short by a split decision. The Butcher's daughter put on a good performance, very high pace. I think she's good on the ground. She's good offensive striker, but Ioni Ioni Raza, which I'll call her. She's a veteran. She came in there and stuck to a good game plan of her striking and just stayed more active in this fight. It was pretty tight. I think it could have gone either way, but I think Manuela, she put on a lot of pressure early on. Takedowns, you know, very good takedowns to control the wrestling of Ioni. Ioni, she kind of picked it up with her right hands and knees, so it's back and forth action in the first round. I think her takedown, is what opened up a gash on. I think it opened up a gash on Ioni because she was like gushing blood in this fight. Manuela, she was just taking advantage of the ground, actually, using some good reversals of control. So I would have gave her the first round, but Ioni was having some good guillotine attempts here. She was locking them in tight, but again, Manuela Martinetto, I think she's very good with the grappling. That's how she was able to escape some of these attempts and just kind of rally back in round two and I think make it a little bit tighter. Ioni, though, the third round, I had to give it to her. The southpaw jab was on point, keeping Manuela Martinetto at bay, just staying busy, just picking her apart with these little shots here and there. I thought Martinetto was kind of gassing, pushing her shots a lot. Ioni, I think she sealed the round with a big takedown. Manuela almost got an armbar at the end of the round, but came up short, So close fight. I think you could say Manuela Martinetto won the first two rounds, or you could say Ioni Raza won the last two, however you look at it. But it was a good fight. Got to go back and look at that, if y'all like blood and action like that. But this bantamweight fight right here, you need to look out for this girl. 27 years old, Daria Celestova, scored a first round knockout over Murillo Loiso. I know she's like in her 40s now, her opponent, but it was just some good striking, just a good performance. You rarely see knockouts like this. It's like a first round stoppage, but the knockdown was impressive. These two, they came out throwing heat. Celestova landed a good right, landed her right hand with ease. Marie just kept stepping in, throwing combinations back, landing as well, but just leaving her hands down. And you can only do that so long against a hard hitter that's determined. And Celestova landed a big right hand, dropped Marie, let her back up, and that's what you're supposed to do. Let that opponent back up and dropped her again, and the ref had to stop it. All right. So right there, you see some IQ in Daria. She said, "Okay, get up and let me do this again." And that's what you do. If you got a good thing going, commit to it. If you're getting your power off, don't jump on the opponent when they're down. Just go ahead, let them get back up and finish them off. All right. So yeah, 27 years old. Still, I know it's still early to say, but go back and check out the performance of this girl, Celestova. We'll see what's next for her. Maybe a few more fights here. Go to Invicta, just kind of go around like Melissa Croden is doing. I like to see them two match up one day. So yeah, these are bantamweights I'm kind of looking at. Hopefully she can keep it together and just keep getting better as a fighter. So yeah, definitely check this one out, y'all, if y'all like knockouts. Going to the co-main event, the flyweight champion for AFC is Ivana Petrovic. She's 6-0, and she got a fourth round submission over, I think it's Ewelling Wozniak. All right, Wozniak definitely put up a good fight here. She's a very good striker in this one, and Petrovic, I like this girl, but sometimes she kind of puts herself in these positions where there's a few scares. I mean, she knows how to win, though. I give her that. Like, she never stops fighting. Even in the championship fight, there were some times where she was down. I think that was back in the summer when she fought last year, and she won the belt by submission. But there were some scary moments in there. But I got to give her credit. She's always game. She's a good grappler. And her grappling skills and her takedowns are what saved her against Wozniak. Wozniak had some good ground and pound moments, good striking on the feet. Very, very, very effective striking. Very, very, very effective striking. But Petrovic always got that resilience, and she showed it in this fight. I think right off top, Wozniak, her pressure and clinch game was pretty good. Landed some good knees and strikes. She dropped the champion with an elbow. She dropped her in the clinch. I thought that was impressive. Wozniak, she controlled the first round with that top position. Just really worked until Petrovic was able to slow it down. Good ground and pound in that first round from Wozniak, but Petrovic, she was able to fight her way back up, get her own takedown, and kind of turn the tables. Wozniak, throughout the fight, I thought her right hand was effective. She was landing it precise, but Petrovic takedown game is efficient. She get these takedowns and slow the fight down throughout rounds 2 and 3. Control top position, get that full mount, just kind of beat and wear down Wozniak, right? So Wozniak, to me, definitely the sharper fighter on the feet. She was able to make the champ miss a lot, as far as, when she controlling the boxing game, just sticking the body in the head, good dirty boxing from Wozniak. And I would have said the fight was kind of going her way. I would say that the fight was kind of going her way into the third round. Petrovic, she got a takedown in round 3, but to me, Wozniak, she just looked better. She was just looking better at, as far as controlling the fight, landing some damaging shots. So championship fight, was kind of going on Wozniak's way. I had it 2-1 going into the fourth round, but the fourth round, Wozniak, she made that adjustment. She was getting outstruck again. She takes the fight to the ground. She starts really wear on Wozniak. Petrovic, good wrestling, good ground and pound, just really beating on the challenger till she was able to get the back, secure the rear naked choke, and that's all she wrote. All right. So yeah, the champ definitely showed that resilience. She knows how to go in there and win. Before she goes to the UFC, still got some work to do, in my opinion. I'm glad she's defending that belt, though. That's smart. That's smart of her. She's not trying to jump right into the UFC. Maybe she can fight a few more fights here, go to Invicta, where the levels go up, and, just kind of go from there. I think that would be best for her. Because I hate to see some of these fighters jump into the UFC too fast and then they come crashing down. There's no need to do that. No need to do that. Just take your time, and, make a name for yourself. So 6-0, still a lot to learn from her. She could go to LFA, Invicta, make some noise first, make some noise, make a name for yourself in that fashion, make the UFC really want you. They got enough fighters over there right now. So, before you fall into that pool and get lost, just stand out, get all the knowledge and all the experience that you can outside. Right. So yeah, AFC 14, Aries FC 14 was definitely a good card. I had to go back and watch that because I was watching PFL 2 as well. I wanted to go back and watch some of those fights. So yeah, just good action all around over the weekend, man. But yeah, looking back at PFL 2 with y'all, the featherweights here, I enjoyed the fights, for what they were, but it's still kind of like slim pickings here because now you have some of these lightweights trying to move down to featherweight, which to me they have no business being there. You had Kolesnik. I like Kolesnik. She missed weight, and it kind of showed in her performance. I mean, she definitely looked better than Aspen Ladd in her fight, but I think maybe the weight cut kind of messed her up a little. I know it was like half a pound, but still, that was probably like a tough weight cut for her. So it kind of made her more of a cautious fighter in this fight. Not really the brawling style that she's used to. Then you had, of course, the lightweight champion fighting Julia Budd, Larissa Pacheco. She kind of looked a little bit off herself. So I didn't really think this was a good place for these type of fighters. I know they want to move down and get more fights and get more money, but it just wasn't the place for them. All right. So looking back at the card, who'd you have on this card? You had Marina Mahakina versus Yoko Higashi, which Marina, she won a second round finish over Yoko Higashi. And I gotta give Marina credit here. Working on her striking. Her striking looked pretty good. Still looked a little bit slow, but she was able to land some good right hands in this fight. You can see she was working on them shots. Her boxing's it's getting better. It's getting better. I won't say it's great, but it's definitely getting better. She was landing some nice shots in this fight, and I think that's what was able to kind of throw the game off of Higashi. She's probably was expecting her to try to take her down mostly and just work off top as a wrestler, but eventually she took it there. Once she was landing these big shots, she was able to drop a level, take the fight to the ground, and get that ground and pound finish. Okay. So yeah, I like what Marina's bringing to the table. Definitely trying to get better as a fighter. Second fight, you had Evelyn Martins. She was able to get a unanimous decision win over Caroline Sobek. Sobek was actually doing well on the ground in this fight. I thought she was going to be more of the longer striker here, but Evelyn Martins was controlling the fight on the feet. Sobek had some good moments on the ground early in the fight, but Evelyn Martins, she's got that killer instinct in her. You know, she started to fight stronger throughout the fight. So yeah, she got her unanimous decision. But this fight here, hold on. Where? It's definitely my highlight fight of the show here. Amber LeBrock versus what's her name? Martina Genrova. My bad. I was about to say Marina, but yeah, Amber LeBrock versus Martina Genrova. And this was probably the highlight finish of the whole card for me, for both the men and the women. And this is definitely a highlight for Amber LeBrock. She got to be proud of herself in this one. This was a good finish. I mean, head kick like no other, man. And it's crazy because I just got done while I was calling this fight with y'all. I just got done like a few seconds before it happened, just saying that Genrova need to get on the inside and not be on the outside of this long, rangy fighter's punches and her kicks. And what happens? Right on the chin. You just hear that smack to the chin and she goes down. Kind of reminiscent of Rose Namajunas and Zhang Weili. You know, when that full extension of the kick goes and all that power goes into the foot and it touches that jaw, and you just see the jaw you just see it, the jaw just absorb that punishment, and it just vibrates, and you just see the cheek and everything just flap, and then boom, the fighter goes down. It's like, wow, you know what I mean? It was one of them knockouts. I mean, Genrova, she's a good striker too. You know, I think she's a pretty decent striker, but sometimes she can be a little flat-footed. And in this fight, she was kind of plodding a little bit, behind Amber LeBrock. Amber LeBrock was the one that was more light on her feet. You know what I mean? She was nimble. She was moving side to side, feinting and throwing long punches and, throwing these kicks to the body. And I'm already thinking to myself, okay, with the way she's moving and she's using this lateral movement, eventually a head kick is coming. And Genrova, to me, if you're going to be flat-footed, you got to be on in the pocket, dirty boxing and clinching and landing elbows on the inside. You got to take away the range of the fighter of this length. And Genrova did not do that. She was just on the outside. And right when I said that, I was like, she better get on the inside or, she'll eat one of these head kicks. She eats a head kick and that's it. And you get to see it from all these angles too, man. You get to see it from the ref cam. I mean, shout out to Genrova. Like I said, I'm a fan, but you get to see how like she was waking up from the shot and you're like, oh man, like it just sounded like, a gun blast because it's, when you look into that ref cam and you get full audio and everything, the experience. So yeah, that was a crazy knockout. So yeah, shout out to Amber LeBrock, man. She's on like a 3-4 fight win streak now, so I know it's definitely building her confidence up and, she's really starting to get back into the mix. So hopefully she can, do something big in the PFL's featherweight division and kind of make something of her career now. She's had some ups and downs, but this might be good for her, right? All right, so moving on. Olena Kolnik gets a majority decision win over Aspen Ladd. Man, Aspen, man. I just don't know, man. I was picking Aspen Ladd in this fight. I was, feeling like she's got the skills, she's got the hunger back. This is gonna be her division. But no, man, like there's still something about her where she's just kind of holding back. I mean, right from the jump in this fight, she was just kind of fighting behind Kolnik. Kolnik looked like Rose out there. You know what I mean? Not just because of the haircut, but she's bouncing around on her feet, just kind of picking her shots, landing, and just stepping side to side. Aspen Ladd just kind of, plodding along, feint, throw a little something here and there, and just coming up short. She's just fighting behind Kolnik. Kolnik just controlling the distance in this fight. I expect Aspen Ladd to really have the gas tank to push the fight, but even when she did, she couldn't handle Kolnik. So after watching this fight, and just seeing how Aspen Ladd struggled trying to get this girl down, I really truly think that she is just a bantamweight. I think she really just needs to be stricter on herself and really needs to cut that weight down to like a bantamweight because she could not handle this girl. I mean, I know Kolnik is big, but somebody like Aspen Ladd, I'm thinking that she has that experience and that physical strength to go in there and handle this girl and get her down and maul her. But she really struggled in this fight, man. It was just another one of those performances, So I'm hoping the best for Aspen Ladd. Hoping she can do better. As for Kolnik, I think lightweight is where she needs to be. She missed by what, a pound and a half. I don't want to see her try to kill herself. Moving down to this type of moving down in this type of way if it's going to be harmful to her. All right. So I go into the main event. Larissa Pacheco gets unanimous decision over Julia Budd, which some people can argue Julia Budd won this fight. Some people felt like she did well, and I do too. I think Julia Budd had some good moments, and she looked better at featherweight. Larissa Pacheco, at this point, I think she's a lightweight and needs to stay there. It kind of showed in her performance. I think she was a little dependent on her power, trying to just walk Julia Budd down and trying to land a big shot. And when she did land on Julia Budd took her punches well. And then Julia Budd would come back with her own snappy right hand. And I believe, I can't remember, I think it was like second round. I think Julia Budd hurt Larissa Pacheco once because that's where she had to like step in and clinch her up and try to take her down. But even off the bat, Julia Budd, in this fight, she did well. I thought she fought a very spirited fight. When it came down to it, in my opinion, it could have gone either way. I mean, I might have to watch it again, but I thought Julia Budd, she did some nice work in this fight. I did. She was fighting behind her jab, picking her shots, counter punching as well. Larissa Pacheco, she was sealed the deal in some of these rounds with the takedown, but I believe Julia Budd got a big takedown, if I can remember correctly, in one of these rounds too. But yeah, I just think Larissa Pacheco, she's a lightweight. After seeing this performance, I don't see her beating Chris Cyborg. Like, they've been talking about that fight. I don't see her beating Chris Cyborg. Not at all. No, I don't see that. So yeah, that was the PFL 2 card, guys. Go back and check that one out. If you need your featherweight fix, this is the one. If you missed the Amber LeBrock knockout, go check that out. It's definitely worth watching 20 times in a row. That's how short it was. I enjoyed it. But yeah, moving on, guys. Yeah, like I said, I like to watch these cards. But out of all these cards, I definitely say I'm recommending Daria Celestova, that knockout, and definitely keep an eye on her, and keep an eye on Petrovic, the flyweight champion in AFC as well. All right. So moving on to some sad, shocking news here. Amanda Leave. Amanda Leave had just posted this up on her IG a few days ago that she's having to call it quits. So I'm gonna go ahead and read through it for y'all. I'm gonna read it to you now. Let me pull it up. If you don't know who Amanda Leave is, you can go to her Instagram, Amanda Leave _MMA. She had this to report. Last night was supposed to be fight night for me, but unfortunately, the universe had other plans. Oh, yeah. So she was supposed to fight the night of PFL 2. Yeah, she was going to fight, what is her name? She trains America Top Team with Kayla Harrison. Who is she supposed to fight? Hold up. No, she was supposed to fight Carolina Sobek. Sorry. She was supposed to fight Carolina Sobek April 7th. Yeah, so that was the whole switch up in the card. Okay. So, yeah, I was thinking she was supposed to fight the other featherweight on that, another featherweight on that card, but no, she was going to take on Sobek. So Evelyn Martin stepped in. Yeah, all right. So last night was supposed to be fight night for me, but unfortunately the universe had other plans. I wasn't going to make a post, but I wanted known that I was physically, mentally, and technically at my very best for the fight in the PFL tournament. I wasn't able to be cleared medically due to something found on my MRI scan of my brain that is now looking like I will probably never be able to fight in MMA again. All I've known since I was a teen was that I wanted to fight. I was disciplined and dedicated, so I hate that this is how my story is turning out. As happy as I am that I got to be a professional, I got to the professional stage, I feel like I was only getting started. It saddens me to think that I'll never be able to reach my full potential in the cage. After seeing those fights last night, I know without a doubt I would have been one of the best women's featherweights in the world. I'll still train and grapple, but nothing will compare to fighting. I want to thank everyone who's helped me over the course of my MMA career, the people who cheer for me, and to the PFL for giving me an amazing opportunity in my last 2 fights. Wow. Yeah, that's sad, man. So something in MRI showed up and looks like it's something that's going to end her career. I guess she didn't really want to go into details on it yet, but that sucks, man. She's only 26 years old, 2-0 as a pro, and just got the contract. She had just got the contract with PFL. You know, I just hate hearing things turn out for fighters like that. There was another fighter a while back. What's her name? Veronica Rothenhauser. Yeah, she had suffered concussion in a fight. This was years ago, but she just chose not to come back, I guess, from that concussion. I don't know if she was cleared to fight anymore, but when she got that concussion, she said, "No, I'm not doing it anymore." But maybe she has the same type of situation, Amanda leaves, so she has to call it quits. But this ain't the first time. Even in boxing, I know some people that have turned out this way as well. But yeah, Amanda leave. She's 2-0, known as a grappler. She's competed in many grappling tournaments and won a lot of grappling matches. As I said, she signed to the PFL, came in, got a contract. Things were looking up, and something like this happens. Something like this happens, and sometimes it's for the best. I mean, with them finding something before the fight, it's definitely for the best, because it could have turned out where something could happen in the fight, and boom, could have put her in the ER. Might wind up in a coma. Like I said, this happened in boxing before, where some doctors, they might miss something, and a boxer goes in, and first he might complain about a headache before a fight. The doctor might miss and just say, "Oh, it's nothing." Goes in, winds up taking a few punches, gets dizzy, passes out in the ring, and then that's it. It's happened in sparring sessions as well, where guys have lost their lives. So maybe this is something for the best for her. It might just turn out where she just needs to take a little break, and it might clear up. I mean, I don't know what it is, but maybe that might be the situation. So I'm praying for her, man. Like, if she really wants to fight, I want to see her be able to get healthy, and everything turns out okay, so she can continue her dream, right? But if not, hopefully she can translate into something else, as a trainer, and still compete on a grappling level and do some things that way. So, man, yeah, shout out to Amanda Lee, man. Hopefully she stays strong throughout this. But yeah, I'm hoping the best for her. In other news, though, other news here, another fighter out of the organization, the UFC, Cynthia Calvillo. Cynthia Calvillo was just recently cut from the UFC due to her fifth loss in a row against Lupita Godinez by, what was it, split decision. And in my opinion, it was a tight fight. First time around, I thought Calvillo lost, but second time around, I could see where people argue that Lupita won. But yeah, Calvillo's gone now. 6 years in the UFC. She started out as a very promising fighter in the strawweight division. I remember, seeing her run through fighters, early in her career, like Montana and Jillian, before the UFC. Then, I remember her coming into the UFC being scrappy, being this ground fighter, good ground and pound. She started turning into more of a stand-up striker, and I started to see some, moments where she would kind of let some things slide. Fight started to look a little bit closer. And then throughout her career, there's some weight issues. I believe the Marina Rodriguez fight was one where she had missed weight. And then there was some discussions of her moving up to flyweight. And that's where I was kind of like, can she not make weight? Really? Now I'm looking at fighters like Ivana and Jessica Andrade, who are, they're big strawweights, but they continue to make the weight. And, I always looked at Cynthia Calvillo's frame and her physique and just said, she really truly looks like a strawweight. She just really probably needs to go on a strict diet, especially if somebody like Macy Barber is trying to move down to strawweight. I believe Cynthia Calvillo can, but she winds up moving up to flyweight, and that definitely wasn't the best choice because, Calvillo, she's just never really had that style and that size to, go in there and compete with these flyweights. And sure enough, when I saw it go down, man, first against Caitlin Chikagan, and then just on from, it's just been downhill from there. It's just been downhill. She did beat Jessica I. I I could see her doing that, but as the competition steps up at flyweight, I just didn't think she had the firepower, the wrestling or the physical strength and size to handle a lot of these girls. So when she moves down to flyweight, she comes up short in this fight. I was hoping that she might get another chance, but I guess they said, 5 is a big number and they can't risk it anymore, right? So yeah, Calvillo's gone. I remember her for, her early career. She came in, submitted Pearl Gonzalez. She beat my girl JoJo on the feet. That was a close fight. Some argue that she beat Carla Esparza, came up short in that fight. She submitted Poliana Bateo, beat Courtney Casey, fought Marina Rodriguez to a draw. That was a fight where she missed weight. Yeah, there was a time where, she was kind of promising. I would never say she was like the next Ronda Rousey. She was just her own fighter, in my opinion. Like, she was her own fighter. Like, I would never consider her like Ronda or anything like that. But, I liked her style. I liked her style. She had good wrestling early on and good grappling. But then she, like I said, she started going more into the boxing phase. And I just never really thought she was that hard of a hitter or that tricky of a striker to overcommit to her punches like this sometimes, But yeah, I just think that maybe if she would have had the right nutritionist and stuck around at strawweight, she probably would have gone further. She probably would have gotten her title shot by now. Whether win or lose, she'd probably still be in the mix. Already fought fighters like Weili or Rose, even Jessica Andrade at this weight. All of that, she probably would have been in the mix and probably been in the top 5 somewhere. Because I think she had the style and size and skills for strawweight. And definitely could have gotten to the top at strawweight. I believe that, but flyweight, different story. The losses to Kagan, just too big of a long of a striker for her. Jessica Andrade, too powerful at flyweight. Andrea Lee, another big fighter for her, big flyweight, that stopped her. Nina Asroff, she's a strawweight, but that fight just, I don't know what Calvillo was doing in that one. Like, she just couldn't go in there and overcommit. Well, not overcommit, but she just couldn't go in there and get over in that fight and commit. Right. So last chance, we're back down to 115 her home. She puts up a good fight against Lupi, but it was all or nothing. It had to be all or nothing at this point. It can't be a split decision loss. It can't be close. So I understand where the UFC's coming from. She had to go in there and do it. Fighters like Tisha Torres and Andrea Lee, when they went on 3-fight losing streaks, they came back strong. They came back strong and got the victory. Calvillo, this one is whenever she had to just go all out. Like, third round is what she should have been doing in the first round. And, constantly putting pressure on. But hey, it's all right though. I still rock Calvillo. It's just that she just got to bounce back and do her thing and then Victor Bellator at this point. I think she could probably get a little further in Bellator. We'll see though. I hope she can continue to fight on if she wants to, and just find her way somewhere else. All right. But yeah, man. That's just a part of the game, man. It's just a part of the game. It's a learning lesson. Things like this happen for a reason. And it happens because this is the effort they put in and it translates. You have to make sure you're committed, or the wrong path you take. That you choose to fight at flyweight, we should be a strawweight. This is what happens. You gotta, when you move up in different classes of weight, you have to start working on different things for that weight class. Like, you're dealing with bigger, stronger fighters, you got to get bigger, stronger. You got to get your defense up, right? You got to go back to your roots of your grappling and wrestling. That's just what it is, right? So yeah. But aside from that, as far as Calvillo's performance and the other fighters from Saturday night, fighters like Sam Hughes and Michelle Waterson, I saw a lot of close fights. I saw my picks win. I picked all the old heads. I'm not just saying, look, I feel like technically I'm not 1-2 Saturday night. I thought all my picks could have won, and I'm proud of them when it comes down to it. Like, I'm not feeling bad for picking them, because when it comes down to it, I think that these experienced fighters in Sam, Michelle, and Cynthia, they kind of expose something in these prospects that they need to go back to the drawing board and work. they need to go back to the drawing board and put things together. I know Lupe, she's probably the one out of these fighters out of these prospects that did the best, but if they want to get into the top 15 in the championship realm, they got to put it together now, because Sam Hughes, she's working. Sam Hughes, she's had a rough start in UFC, but as she said, hey, I'm taking on Tisha Torres just to kind of break the ice. And from there, like Sam, like she's one of the fighters I can argue that Sam Hughes, she'll go in there and give it her all. Like she's always giving her all. Like even in the fights where she's lost like 2 or 3 in a row, you can argue that she beat Luana Pinheiro. You could argue she beat Pierre Rodriguez too. Got a slower start against Loma Labutni, but she understood. There came a point in the fight where she was starting to understand it. Like, oh, okay, I get it now. I need to start picking it up. And as soon as she switched her team, things started looking up for her. She started getting some more victories. So, somebody like Sam Hughes, I could see her getting pretty far because, she's seeing what she's doing wrong and she's acknowledging it. She's the fighter that acknowledges it. That's why, I rock with her, I had to go to her defense when people, saying she's not a good fighter, saying worse things about her, and just, I'm like, what are y'all talking about? This girl is actually working and, she's showing a level of IQ that it just needs time and it needs to be nurtured, and she's getting that. And I know Jacqueline Amarin was just coming into the UFC, but I said, no, man, you got to give Sam more credit than this. Give her more credit than this. You really think she'll go in there and get submitted? I mean, it's possible. If Jacqueline Amarin is what you say she is, then I'll say, okay, this fight could be the one on the card that ends in a finish, because if you're saying Jacqueline Amarin can get it done like that, okay, let's see. But when it came down to it, my pick is going to be with Sam because Sam has been here before. She's been here. She's humble. She knows the work that she has to do, and that's drown her opponent. And as long as Sam is acknowledging that she has to start faster in these fights and start showing what she knows, like as far as her wrestling and putting her punches together, I think she'll be all right. I think she'll be all right. But fighters like Jacqueline, man, like, going into the UFC, you got to understand off top, these finishes ain't going to come like that. They're not going to come like that. I know they want to come in and think that it will because I'm the baddest. I've won the LFA belt. I'm different. But no, you're not. These fighters got to learn that. Like Jacqueline Amarin, you're good, but you're not different. All this has been seen before. These fighters have seen this before. And Sam has seen fighters like you before, and she showed that. She said, all I got to do is drown you. One shaky round, let me go ahead and break your spirit when I break out of these submission attempts. And Sam broke her spirit in that fight. She said, I'm going to break your spirit. And when she did, she was, Sam had the fights in rounds 2 and 3. And that's why I'm saying, like, these fighters on the come up, they have to learn, like, there's different levels that you have to be prepared for. You can't go in and just say it's going to be the same because I'm different. No, like, you have to acknowledge the fact that even the unranked fighters and the lower fighters are better than me. I got this belt from this organization, but these fighters here, they're tougher and they've seen some things. So you have to treat it just like it is a championship fight anywhere else. Like, hey, I got to go in and make adjustments on the fly and get this win by any means necessary. Not the same way, So, yeah, fighters like this, Sam, I like to see work. Again, like Cynthia Calvillo, she had her moments in her fight, but, she came up a little bit short. But Lupe, to me, her form looked really good in this fight. Lupe, I have to give her credit. I think her form was tight, but it came a point in the fight where I was like, yo, you gonna move your head a little bit, Lupe? Because when you start to slow down, you become an easy target. You know what I mean? Like, Lupe started in the first round with some good, solid strikes, but as she slowed down, she started becoming a target. So when you start to slow down in the fight, then you better be moving your head. Like, when your punches ain't going, you gotta start moving your head. That's where Cynthia Calvillo started coming back. So when you look at fighters like Lupe, I'm thinking to myself, hey, if you want to be championship material or top 15 material, you got to start moving. You got to start, changing gears on the fly. Like, Lupe's form is tight, but I kind of seen her stay in the same gear throughout rounds 2 and 3. and that's how Cynthia Calvillo was able to come back. Like I said, I'm just watching these fights. I'm not criticizing, bashing them. I'm just telling you what I see. And I saw Lupe just kind of stay in the same gears. It was enough to beat Calvillo or squeak by, but you can't be in them same gears. You got to go in there and start closing the show. All right. And then when you look at a fight like this here, look, people saying, oh, Luana Pinheiro won. They can argue she won. It's not a robbery. There's a lot of people saying it is a robbery in this one. And I'm one of the ones that rides the robbery train on this one. I usually don't say robberies very, very often, but I don't think this was a split decision. And I don't think this was a close fight. That's why I'm not calling it a close fight, because I think it was a robbery. All right. I think Michelle Waterson exposed a lot Luana Pinheiro. Luana Pinheiro is a fighter with a lot of gifts, but she doesn't know how to use them. She can cause damage, but it's not enough damage to win a fight, in my opinion. Like, it was too far in between. She wasn't sticking to what was working. Like, she was landing these good calf kicks and getting a reaction, but she wasn't doing it enough. Like, she wasn't like chopping down the lead leg of Michelle Waterson. She would land it and admire her work too much. To me, Michelle was still the fighter that showed she was in control, and she was a lot more calm and cool in there, even under the pressure. She was still the one landing more. Like I said, Michelle Waterson wasn't landing like concussive blows, but she was landing effective blows. She was landing the effective blows. And to me, there's a difference. Like, there's a punch scale I go by. Like, there's pecs, which to me don't really score. Like, you can throw 4 or 5 pecks, okay, but if you come back and land two damaging blows, I'll score the 2 damaging blows over like 2 or 3 pecks. Now, if you start to pepper somebody, I can start to look at pepper, and how you do it, like the form and how the sequence you land in. If you land like a triple jab in the right hand, you just kind of peppering your opponent, and it's enough to keep them back. Those start to score, but then you look at your regular stiff punches, those stiff punches, you got to score them. Even kicks, like stiff kicks. Like, I think Michelle Waterson's kind of teetered between stiff kicks and punches and peppering punches and kicks. She was never concussive, but she was somewhere in the middle where she was doing enough to win the fight and knock Pinheiro off balance and even knock her down. Okay. Luana Pinheiro, she was in the concussive realm herself. She was landing the concussive type of strikes when she could, and that was very, very scarce. Like, she was the one like swinging off the mark, landing. She clipped Michelle like 1 or 2 times, but it wasn't enough like to do some serious damage, and she couldn't follow up because her form was so bad, right? So just little things like that, like, were exposed in this fight to me. Like, Michelle, of course, didn't bust up Luana Pinheiro, but she won the fight. Like, I could argue again it's 30-27, but she showed, just off of her form and her experience, how green Luana Pinheiro was on the feet. And as far as like going in for the kill and really like closing the distance to make adjustments. Like, there was a lot of things Pinheiro wasn't on that she could have capitalized on. And, so yeah, just a lot of things these veterans were showing us. So, like I said, once again, it just shows that these prospects at strawweight, the skill gap is very, very big between flyweight. These girls still need to work on their defense and switching gears, But yeah, I talked enough about these fights, but I just kind of wanted to talk about like the strawweights as a whole again. When I looked at them all, like when I looked at Lupe, Luana, and Jacqueline Amram, they're just those different levels where you're gonna see you're gonna see some exposure here, and it's not always a bad thing. They can learn from it. They can learn. They can definitely grow because they're still young, but that's all if they want to do it. Deep waters. You get taken into deep waters, got to know how to swim. All right, you got to know how to stay committed. Lupe, the form, you got to stay committed. Pinheiro, if you're doing damage, you got to stay committed to it. You got to stay on it. All right. And another thing I want to say, too, I think it would have been better if they gave Luana Pinheiro the L, too, man, because I think she would have learned from it. Honestly, I think she would have learned from it, and it would probably put her in a better state of mind, too, mentally, where she would say, all right, we came up short. This is what we need to work on. Because now she might say, I look bad in that performance, but I still got the W. Maybe it'll work next time. Maybe, right? Maybe not. That's why sometimes you give that person that decision to win. It's not necessarily doing them a favor. Now is it? All right. But yeah, man. Moving on real quick here. Let's talk a little bit about Juliana Pena. All right. Juliana Pena. Juliana Pena is getting her third fight with Amanda Nunes. And by the time I talk about this, I've probably already done a couple videos. But Juliana Pena, man, she really, really believes that she deserves this title shot. And what I want to talk about in this segment on this show, because I already said what I needed to say, is the fact that the one thing I can say about Juliana Pena is I have to give her a lot of respect for how she's promoting herself and how she's riding for it. Because whether you really think she deserves the title shot or not, this third fight, you have to give her credit because she is doing a lot of legwork here to get it. Like, she's saying, look, I'm not fighting anybody else except the champion. And she's making everybody want to see this fight, whether it be to see her win or lose, because people are going to tune in. Going by my community posts, a lot of people still want to see it. Like, I mean, the people that pass on is more. I think it's like 51-49 now as far as the percentage, but 49% still pretty high. I thought it might have went down to 20%, but no, a lot of people still want to see this fight. So, I got to give Pena some credit. Pena wants to fight, and she wants to be a brand. And that's just something we say about a lot of WMMA fighters, that they need to grow up. They need to grow up and start thinking outside the box. They need to stop thinking that, oh, I got the UFC uniform, I made it, that's it. No, that's not it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of other things you need to do for longevity in this sport and to make the UFC want to keep you around. See, the UFC, they could have picked somebody else. They could have picked Irene Aldana, but when it came down to it, they said, you know what? Pena's still a good talker, and she'll bring out some fans here. She looks like a heel right now, and we can capitalize off that. Yeah, we just bought WWE. We need fighters like this. She's in association with Ric Flair and Charlotte Flair now. So, we need this type of representation now. We're mixing together now, UFC, WWE in some ways, right? So, I think that Juliana Pena is doing a good job of standing her ground and standing where she wants. Like, I might not agree with it, but when I hear her talk, I'm like, hey, go on with you. Like I said, I don't want to see it right now. I think it could be prolonged and put off where they could fight other fighters, but I have to respect her stance, because if she doesn't speak up for herself, who else is? Who else is gonna go to bat for her? The UFC, they sign you, but to make yourself a brand, you have to be a promoter for yourself. Like Ronda, she was promoting herself in the UFC, right? Of course, the UFC is a bigger organization, so everybody got to see her, but Ronda was signed because, she was this entity. You know what I mean? Like, Ronda was something they never seen before, and the proof is in Dana White signing her, right? Dana knew she was a powerhouse before the UFC, and he knew she could make money because he wasn't going to sign women before then, right? But then when he saw this powerful woman that was building her brand, he had to sign her. Now, I know Juliana Pena is not on that level, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she's got to talk like this, and she has to ask for fights like this, and she has to talk with this type of delusion in people's eyes because, she is her own promoter, right? And she's trying to keep her bank account full, right? So, hey, when it comes down to it, I'm not mad at that. I'm really not mad at Juliana Pena on that. Now, could the fight wait? Yeah, because I think that she could stand to grow in some areas, take another fight or two, but we're here now. So, get your money, Pena, do what you do. So I just want to say that on that. Like, I'm not mad at her, or, it's not like I'm not going to watch the fight, because I am. But, that's just my pick as far as, pushing the trilogy off. But since she's got it, that just shows that, she knows how to talk a good game. And some of these other fighters in WMMA, they could take a page out of her book. as far as promotion, you know? All right. So real quick, guys, tonight we have 3 WMMA fights. So let's go down the list here real quick. We got the bantamweight fight is going to be kicking off the card between Jocelyn Edwards and Lucy Putulova. All right, so Lucy Putulova, I'll say she's improved as a fighter. Jocelyn Edwards also has been improving in her stand-up game and some of her clinch game I've been looking at. She's been looking stronger. How do I see this fight going, y'all? Lucy Putulova's on a mission. This is her second stint with the UFC, and after her octagon fights, she's been wanting to come back and show the world that she's something different. She came in, got a TKO finish over Wu Yanan. Jocelyn Edwards, her last fight out, I believe, was back in June now? Yeah, no. She beat Ramona Pascal back in June. Then she fought a month later against Jin Yoon Kim. And it was a very close fight. I expected her to do a little bit better. She's been working with Pavel and, Shevchenko, and some of it's rubbing off, but not too much. I don't see like the trigger. I don't see her pulling the trigger too much in her fights. Jocelyn Edwards, to me, she's technical, but even with her technical skills, like, I don't see that assertiveness in her. Lucy Putulova, she goes after it more. I think she's gotten better on the ground, and she'll kind of push the pace and brawl. I don't really see Jocelyn Edwards being like too hard of a counter striker either. This fight here, I'm kind of leaning towards Putulova, but I don't know. I think Putulova is stronger. I think she's a bit of a harder hitter. She's more committed. But at bantamweight, I'm kind of thinking, I'm not sure how it will go, man. I'm going to just stick with Putulova. I think I'll just stick with Putulova on this one. I think that she's kind of got a different fire in her now. She's awake, and she's really wanting to prove herself. Now, if it goes to a decision going Jocelyn Edwards' way, it might be close, and it might be kind of a pecking type of fight where she just kind of controls it. But I really don't see Jocelyn Edwards going after like the knockout in this fight. I just don't. This is the strawweight fight I'm really looking forward to. Bruno Brazil making her debut against Denise Gomes. We got 2 contender series fighters here, and yeah, Bruno Brazil. Just looking at some of her early fights and just looking at how she came into the contender series with that knockout, I'm like, yeah, I want to see more of this girl. Like her form, her size. She's a big strawweight, fit strawweight. She's really bringing like this power element to her striking that you don't really see too much of. Knocking girls out. Marnik Man, who she knocked out with a head kick in like the second round, that was killer, man. She's gonna be dealing with a brawler in Denise Gomes. Denise Gomes, she's kind of a tweener. She can fight strawweight and flyweight. Denise Gomes, she had a pretty good fight against Loma Labugni. She came up short. That was her debut. But hey, to me, she looked pretty good in there. Then you have her fight Dudieva a little while back. She was able to stop Dudieva last year in an Invicta fight. She's just one of those dogs, man. I like Denise Gomes' style, but she's gonna have to be careful against an accurate striker and a long striker in Bruno Brazil. Denise Gomes is about 5'2", Bruno Brazil is about 5'6". So she's gonna be using that length. She's gonna be using them long kicks, and she's gonna be looking for them openings to knock her out. So this fight here, I don't really see going the distance. However it goes, I don't see this fight going the distance. I'm rocking with Bruno Brazil in this one, though. So tune into this one, y'all. This one, though. G-Rob coming down to 115 to face off against the undefeated Pierre Rodriguez. Oh, man, like, I want to rock with G-Rob in this one, man, but I'm not sure how this fight can go because I'm not sure how G-Rob's body is going to handle this weight. Like, will she be stronger? Will she be faster? Will she be more well-rounded now? Will she be bringing her striking game? Well, improved striking game, hopefully. Will she be bringing all of that together? Will she be bringing like some well-rounded tools in here against the Pierre Rodriguez? Pierre Rodriguez to me is a growing, well-rounded fighter. I still don't really see like anything stands out about her, which I'm not saying that like that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that I don't see any one thing that stands out because she does a little bit of everything, and she's trying to find a balance. Like Pierre Rodriguez is fighter likes to find balance. Like she'll work on whatever needs to be worked on throughout a fight, and then she'll make a little adjustment here and there, and boom, she'll get the victory. Like she's still undefeated, and I'm really impressed at how she'll just kind of adjust on the fly in these fights and put it together. The Sam Hughes fight was close again. I'm not saying because I'm a Sam Hughes fan, but I rock with Sam. But I thought that was a close fight. But there were just moments in that one too where she made adjustments and she can find a way to win. But can she withstand like these takedowns from G-Rob? Like can she withstand like that relentlessness of her pulling her down? And that we just have to wait and see for this one, man, because I don't know if G-Rob's going to be strong. Like G-Rob's already kind of small, but with her moving down, I wonder if she'll be stronger. She looks good. Like when you look at her pictures, like physically she looks good, but as far as how she performs and will she be stronger? I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Pierre Rodriguez because I'm feeling like Pierre might be more willing to connect with her hands. Sometimes Jillian comes up short with these shots. She'll throw them out now. The form is looking okay, but she's still not connected enough. I was looking at her like perform like that in the JJ Aldridge fight. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of picking Pierre Rodriguez in this. I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure, man. I think Pierre Rodriguez has a good chance to win this fight. I'm not really going in with a pick with this one. I'm trying to enjoy this fight. Because when I try to rock with a solid pick, man, on some of these unranked strawweight fights, man, you watch it in this tense mode. So I might just sit out on this fight here. I'm gonna sit out on this strike fight. The Bruno Brazil fight versus Denise Gomes, I think Bruno Brazil is gonna pull out. But this one here, this one's a tough one to call, man. Because this could be another veteran showing another unranked strawweight fight what's up. Showing them how it's really done. But Pierre's got a couple wins already in the UFC, right? So, she knows what she's doing. She's undefeated. But I really won't be surprised, man, if Pierre Rodriguez wins this fight because I think she'll connect more with her striking. And if she stops the takedowns, she can win this fight on the feet. And who knows, man, she might be able to survive and defend some of the grappling attempts from Jillian Robertson. I'm really talking myself into picking Pierre Rodriguez. I am, man. But I think this will be a good fight. I think it'll be a good fight. I think it will. If I change my mind, I'll let y'all guys know, though, man. But other than that, I'm gonna try to just sit back and watch it. But that's all I got on this one, guys. I just want to come through because it's been a while since I dropped the episode on y'all. So yeah, definitely go back, check out Aries FC, PFL 2, Aries FC 14, and PFL 2, guys. And let me know what y'all think of the fighters, on the come up now. Let me know what y'all think of the strawweight division as a whole now in the UFC. And if there's any other fighters y'all are looking out for, let me know in the comment section. I'm about to drop another episode 2 later this week or next week, just talking about non-UFC strawweights that we need to look out for. For example, Fatima Klein, Amanda Maciosi, fighters like that, right? So yeah, guys, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Follow the show on all these different platforms here, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. And when I get my site back up, cb99talks.com, I'll be able to update the episode. So as of right now, the episode is going to be on YouTube, so go there first. But I haven't been able to update my show on the website. I'm behind like 4 or 5 on the website. So let me go ahead and try to get that done this week. And yeah, go to that website, cb99talks.com, and you can listen to the show there. And keep supporting, guys, and I'll keep doing this show. But until then, I will catch y'all on the next one. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.